Hey, Andy, you got a minute to join us here before everybody else bombards you? I didn't mean to corner you there, but we were just it kind of makes sense. We were just talking to Jack McKeon about drafting you.
Yeah, what did he say about that?
Yeah. Said he made the right choice. That's what he said.
By the way, Andy Bennis joining us. If you've been around Evansville at all, I don't think he needs an introduction.
No.
But Central standout at least 2 sports. I remember I was at Bosse when you were at Central. You came out of Central 84?
85.
I came out of Bosse 83. But, we were out at Robert Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Bosse had some pretty good basketball teams back in those days.
Yeah.
And you hung 40 on us.
Yeah.
You remember that too?
Yeah.
It wasn't enough, though. I can tell you that. I remember sitting crying in one of the showers because we were all finished. But
I do remember thinking, oh, man, that's just sick. That's just sick. This guy goes out and throws 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and then hangs 40 on my high school team, which, by the way, I didn't play. Trust me on that one. But it is a pleasure to see you again. It's been a long
really
time.
good. It's been really good to see the guys here and see some people that I haven't seen in a long time. I haven't seen Jack for quite a while, and
he had good things to say. It was all good.
Well,
he did.
Okay, good.
He did.
Okay, good. He was actually he drafted me. He was a GM, but he was also the manager when I got to San Diego, and so it's a real privilege to play for a great baseball guy. And just had the privilege of playing golf today with Mr. Greasy and his brother Bill, and just a nice gentleman. And to see my old baseball coach, Coach Brownlee, and hang out with some of the guys here, it's been a really good homecoming.
Well, now you obviously have had your fair share of time here at Bosse Field, and I'm sure over those years,
the bad, and the in between.
I'm not going to ask you to pick a favorite memory because that is probably virtually impossible to do, but just maybe the first one that comes to mind. Maybe it's an accomplishment you had here, something that took place off the field that happened here. Just off the top of your mind, one of the things that jumps out to you about this facility.
Well, I said something yesterday. I said I broke my left arm in a baseball game here as a junior in high school. And so everybody will see a little zipper on my left arm. I'm like, yeah, I used to be left-handed. I had to switch, but that's not true. But had a lot of great memories here. Played a lot of high school baseball games here for Central and Coach Grease. And then in college, I had the privilege of playing so long after college that I don't really remember as many games per se. Sure. But I just remember going out there with a lot of guys, a lot of the scouts behind home plate, and just fun to play in college. I'm a huge college advocate, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. My son Shane, who's a freshman at Missouri, potentially was going to be a first-round draft pick last year before he tore his ACL, and man, I just really want him to go to college, and so I'm so thankful for that. The college years are so formative, and so to be out on that field where guys played great football and baseball, and to be able to look back and say, man, I had the privilege of playing here, very cool.
Andy Bennis, our guest. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. A question I asked Jimmy earlier when we had a few minutes. Are you at all surprised that this place has been able to stand for 100 years?
Yeah. I am. It's just really cool, and I didn't realize. I was reading yesterday that there's only a couple places that are older than this place.
Yeah, Fenway and Wrigley. Yeah,
and I've been in both of those places, and this place looks good.
Right.
A lot of great things have happened here, and I think it's quite an accomplishment and a real tribute to Evansville and the people that have been involved to keep it occupied and to. I know the surface out there now looks really good.
Sure, it's much different than what you played on.
Different, but everything looks really good. And so to be able to continue the tradition of athletes kind of chasing their dream, playing in high school and college, pretty cool.
Well, it's
and by the way, I hate to bring this up, but
no, you go right ahead.
The Cardinals. There's
here we
some
go.
Information about the Cardinals.
I wasn't even going to bring it up.
Listen, I just want you guys to know for clarity that I do my TV show with Fred Bird, right?
Okay.
On Cardinals Kids, and we're on Fox Midwest every week. I'm like, listen, I can't remember any passwords because I'm too old, and Fred Bird can't type because he only has 4 fingers. So we're clear. I don't want anybody to think Fred Bird and I were hacking any files. It wasn't us.
Fair enough.
I'm just letting you know that.
Fair enough. Oh, here comes the coach. He found you. See? He's doing all right, Coach.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
He's hanging. He just cleared himself from the St. Louis scandal.
That's right. I'm like, it wasn't me and it wasn't Fredberg.
Yeah, he's getting out of Hatgate.
Can't vouch for the other guys.
Yep, him and Fredberg are clear.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to bring it up, even though Andy sat down. We caught Andy as soon as he walked in the gate. I don't even think he knows who we are, but he was nice enough to sit down, and you got your Cardinals polo on. But since you brought up the conversation, is this a big deal?
I have no idea.
Because I don't really know that it is.
I may be totally wrong, but my initial thought was, okay, so there's somebody in the front office or several people that are a little too energetic, and we're trying to kind of make their name or whatever. I'd be shocked if it was anybody, at a really high level.
Yeah, it's like a really good organization.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be. I think number one, it's shocking to hear anything like that, but it just really gives. It's just it's a black eye.
Yeah.
And you know what?
You don't like to see it.
Well, no. I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals, there's something about being a Cardinal and that tradition and the Hall of Famers. When you see those guys in red jackets, man, it means a lot. I mean, and it's been an organization where everything has been done the right way. And so for something like this to come out, just not good.
Yeah.
Does it affect the player? I mean, is it going to affect the play on the field and all that? No. But I will tell you, as a player, when things like that happen, man, you get tired of answering questions about it. You're like, man, I don't have anything to do with that. I don't know who did it. I have no idea. So, it'll be a distraction. But they have a really good team. They have great chemistry there on the field, and Mike's doing a really good job with it.
Well, you heard it here first on Ford and O'Brien. Breaking news: Andy Bennis and Fred Bird are cleared.
Not involved.
Yeah, the FBI cleared us. They just didn't want to have to deal with Fred Bird.
Well,
I understand that after working with him for 13 years. I mean, it's not easy.
He's a diva, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of needs a little extra. Yeah, I got one of those too.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the diva of the group here. Let's talk about that team. They lose Wainwright, although he seems to think there's a chance that he'd like to get back before the season's done. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Matt Adams is out. There's Carpenter's injury. And yet this team continues to chug along. They continue to win games. What is it that makes them so good?
Well, they have some depth, which is really important. They've lost some of that off their bench, which, potentially down the road could hurt them. But they have such a big stable. They've had a stable of all these starting pitchers. There's been too many pitchers and not enough spots. Now they're starting to get to where, okay, they have all the slots filled, and there aren't that many that they could go to if they really need somebody. But they're just a really good organization. They've drafted well. They've developed their players well. And, I was disappointed when they traded Joe Kelly last summer, and they traded Shelby Miller to get Jason Hayward and try to put that piece of the puzzle into right field, and that was a really big deal. But they tend to do things the right way, and they've done a really good job of drafting and developing guys. And that wasn't the case 20 years ago. I know when I first got there, their minor league system wasn't very good, and so they've done a great job, I think, starting with Walt Jocketty and then with John Mozeliak. They do a good job getting guys that they think are going to be able to, especially at the top of the draft, that they can help at the major league level, and they've been really good at doing that lately.
Well, I know they've really, like you said, they turned around that farm system. They developed those players early, and they can just plug those guys in. And you wonder when they have injuries like they've had this season early on, at some point, will that catch up to them? And right now, there's been no reason to believe that it will.
Right. I think when Wainwright went down, and I heard him talk the other day, I was helping with a fantasy camp over the All-Star break, and he came in and talked to the guys I was one of the coaches. They're like, "Are you going to play?" I'm like, "Not a chance. You don't want to see that."
But, left arm sore, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he came in and he said, I'm going to start throwing in August, and don't be surprised if you see me before the end of the season. I'm thinking it's pretty aggressive, but with him, you never know. I think when you lose a guy, I was in a position where I was the second guy, third, fourth, fifth. I was also the first guy. And there's a big difference of being the number one guy. And when you have that bona fide number one guy, then they take a lot of pressure off 2 through 5, and everybody just kind of falls into rotate. It's kind of like you're drafting off the top guy.
Right.
And when you lose that guy, my concern was none of those other guys have been the top guy, and it's a big deal. And there's a lot more pressure that's on you when you're in that position. But the 5 guys have seemed to kind of just keep rolling, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed for all those Cardinal fans. I know everybody in Evansville is not Cardinal fans, but I am.
Most of them.
There are a lot, and
There are a
keep
lot.
our fingers crossed that that Holiday can come back, and that the guys will keep pitching well, because they do. They've been so good pitching and
just
catching
remarkable.
the ball, and then they've had enough offense to make a really good run.
Yeah. Andy Bennis, our guest. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, and online, ESPNEvansville.com. I know that there's other people that want to talk with you. We've got to take a break.
Not really.
Trust me.
Thanks for having me.
You may not believe it, but
appreciate
we're trying to be nice and share with the TV guys. So, again, I know we caught you as soon as we walked in the gate and just threw you a pair of headphones and said, hey, have a seat for a minute.
Well, I'm glad you remembered I used to play basketball.
Yeah, well,
That was my favorite sport growing up. So,
well, we appreciate
you
the
were
time.
pretty good at it.
well, I was okay.
You might have made the right career choice, but you were pretty good at it.
Sitting here, I'm like a bunch of the rest of the guys here, except these 2 guys. I mean, we're all washed up athletes. So the good thing is most of us know it. So,
well, it's been a pleasure. Enjoy your time here today.
Yeah, thanks for having
stick
me.
around for the game, and it's good to see you. So we appreciate
You
the
got
time.
it.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
guys.
Andy.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.